5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good evening and all that bollocks. I tell you what, welcome along. I am absolutely knackered. If Leicester ever do anything like they did on Saturday again, 4 lots of 45 minutes on a I ain't doing a watch along. I am going to run as far as I can away from it. And sure, I mean, I know when the club plan these things, they don't plan it thinking, oh, I wonder how the social media and the YouTube sites are going to follow this. They're obviously not thinking about that, but it was very obvious as the 4 lots of 45 minutes went on, there was less and less and less fans there. And I said this in the post-match and post-match discussion. Oh, I'm losing my S on my walkers. Oh, that's not very good, is it? Oh, I'm going to have to stick that down. Why didn't they sell tickets for the first 90 minutes and then sell tickets for the second 90 minutes? Make a bit more money. Just an idea. But my God, it went on and on and on and on. Never again. But thank you very much for joining us. This is the new Monday night show, for fuck's sake. It was called City Chit Chat, but it sounded like a 70s kiddies film about flying cars and what have you. So I thought I'd change it to For Fuck's Sake. And we're going to be having a look. There was 10 players that were out of contract at the end of next season, 12 months' time. It's now down to 9 because obviously Jakub, we've signed him up on an extension. So that still leaves 9. But are any of them actually worth keeping? Can we afford to keep a few of them because they're on high wages? A lot of questions to answer. I tell you, 2 gentlemen that are going to answer that are going to be Reece and Clibbo. We'll get them in. Join in with your comments as we go through the chat. They will appear in the bottom corner there. And if you are listening via your favourite podcast platform, as always, thank you very much for doing so. And if you're watching on Catch Up, add your comments in below, what you think. Let's get on with it. Reece, Clibbo, good evening. How the devil are you two?
Good evening. I'm fine and dandy on this glorious, what day is it? What are we on? Monday evening.
Good evening. It's about the 5th of August, isn't it? I'm totally lost, I'll tell you.
Yeah, me too.
Uncle Clibbo, do you recognise this shirt?
I do, yeah. I gave it you.
Yeah. What's on the back?
It should say Clibbo on it.
It is Clibbo.
Yay!
Show us then. I thought he was going to turn around and show us.
Oh, all right. Hang on. Let me just... I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
There we go.
Quality.
Yes. When did you play for us, Clibbo?
Well, you know, I made the odd sub appearance, streaking.
No, let's not go. But we had enough the other day of you in your underpants. We don't want to go back to streaking again. I had heard that you were Danny Ward's stand-in.
I couldn't do a worse job, to be fair, could I?
Probably not. Reece, good to hear about your mum. She's home and improving.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, appreciate all the comments about her as well. Cheers, guys. I really appreciate it. She's home and well.
Ray's in, and he says, "Evening, Chris. Still no gaffer. Leaving for Austria soon. Wednesday, I believe it is." And Prashant's in as well. Look, for fuck's sake, is the show. Before we get on to the main show, though, and I wasn't going to give this its own show because it's really not worth it, and I'm getting totally fed up with the whole thing. But apparently, Reece, we've agreed compensation with QPR for Cifuentes. Maybe that's what the delay has been, and maybe the delay wasn't down to us. Maybe it was down to QPR, maybe trying to play hardball. But I suppose I was surprised that Doc was there at the weekend and then flew straight out.
Yeah, I also think there's a factor as well that his staff as well. That might be the hold up as well. With his number 2, Xavi Khan. That could be another factor as well with the delay. But reading the news that he's agreed to pay half of the compensation, which will be 250k, which is green flag vibes in my opinion. It shows that he wants to come here. So well, it's either that or the club have got no money, which I highly doubt. We just can't spend it. So and he offered straight away to pay it. So no, great news. It's quite cheap as well. 500k. It's nothing in this day and age. It's peanuts. So no, happy days.
It is peanuts, isn't it, Clibbo? And as Reece said there, it's not that we haven't got the money. All this PSR shit. It's because we're not allowed to spend it, and that's a completely different thing. But he offered to spend that, to pay it way before we sort of got into negotiations, didn't he?
Well, as far as I'm aware, yeah. And I mean, I'm kind of thinking that it's probably happened before with managers, but because this is quite high profile, it's been made a thing of. I'm sure there are managers that have done that in the past. It's just never been the main talking point of a club. And given that we've been giving very little away, I think it's something that the press have jumped on. I could be wrong, of course.
I suppose, Reece, that when you look at the situation that he was on gardening leave, therefore not, although he was still contractually linked to QPR, they'd actually replaced him, so he wasn't going back. And I kind of had the thought that, well, this might actually go through quite quickly. But, it doesn't mean that, does it?
No, not necessarily. No, it's quite a difficult situation being on gardening leave. So obviously, you've still got to pay the club compensation. But no, I'm glad it's all agreed now. Hopefully it'll be announced either Tuesday or Wednesday before we fly up to Austria, which I'm sure it will, because I'm sure that the players will want to, and he'll want to have a pre-season with them as well to implement his ideas across. So, but like I said, I'm glad it's all sorted now. So, yeah, let's keep going.
Apparently, it says here, Sky Sport News, Clibbo, has been told Leicester have faced delays organising Cifuentes' new visa over the weekend. And I guess if he's not been working for a while, I can understand that. But they are hopeful the paper will be completed and he'll be confirmed for the squad's flight to Austria on Wednesday.
Although, I mean, I don't profess to know a lot about the visa system, but how long has he not been working? Because if he's been on gardening leave, it's still an employment, isn't it?
Yes.
It's not like you're sacked. You're still under employment.
Maybe
I just find that a little bit odd.
Maybe he should have come up the River Soar in a small boat. He'd have been given a job within 24 hours. Sorry, getting a little bit political there, but you agree with me, Clibbo. I can see you laughing away.
Yeah, say nothing.
No. It's all allegedly, of course. But he's going to want to have that pre-season, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Although I do believe he hasn't got a lot to do in terms of the playing style, because a lot of these players are used to the possession-based football and the high pressing. So I think there'll be a few tweaks here and there, but I don't think there'll be a lot of change. Just maybe a few patterns, maybe a few triangles, diamonds, that sort of thing will be changed within his philosophy. But like I said, he hasn't got a lot to work with. They're up to fitness. They look very, very fit after the first 2 games. So he hasn't got to work. He can just focus on the philosophy and the playing style. So we have to give credit to Kingy for that, and the coaching staff at the club down at Seagrave for that as well. So no, it's all worked out. Would have liked him in sooner, of course, but it's all worked out in the end.
Yeah, no, it has. And Clibbo, if they're not bloody fit after that debacle on Saturday, they never bloody will be.
Well, I think that's been the key thing this year, and it's something that Kingy said, is this is the first time they've been this fit for 3 or 4 years. Now, I think we've been in a situation before with a certain manager where we were in Austria and the manager flew out late, and I think we did all right. So I'm not panicking, but I think it's important now that all that hard work is done and the fitness is up there. I think it's important that he goes out there and is at least in charge of one of those matches, because I think if I can see areas what need improving is, I think defensively we need to be a little bit cuter. But I don't think it'll take too much to do. But I think that's something that he'll need to go out there and look at and see who he really wants as his centre back 3, 4, in the squad, and really work on those players. And then the other ones will obviously have to go back to the under-23s or loans. So he's got those decisions to make.
He has. But mine, and I'm trying to. My head is saying Enzo, but I don't think it was. Who was the manager that joined us late in Austria once?
Ranieri.
Oh yes, Ranieri. Of course, that didn't work out too badly at all, did it?
If you remember that summer, we were linked with so many managers. I think there was Big Sam on the cards, and all these other different managers were linked. Laurent Blanc was another one as well, but then we ended up getting Claudio Ranieri. And then, we were already out in Austria when that happened, and we didn't do too bad that season.
No, we didn't at all. It was completely left field. I remember that. I remember literally every day there was a new favourite. I think I've probably told you this before, but I did a graph, and I actually put my name in at something like 20-1 or something like that in the betting, and everyone was going, "Oh, who's this? Never, where's he managed?" It was just getting ridiculous. It really, really was. But fingers crossed, we've got him. I think it all smacks that King is he's going to have to be there, surely, to sort of carry that thing through, from he can tell him all about the players and what have you. But thank God games are only going to be 90 minutes from now on. Right, shall we do this then, guys? 9 players, say down from 10, because Jakub's been offered a new deal. There's a couple in there I'm surprised haven't yet. But what we're going to do is go through all of those and discuss them and look at the facts and figures. And we're also going to take a very quick peek at those that will be the contract running out in 2 years' time. So they'll have another year at the end of this season. But these are the ones we're going to focus on and concentrate. Because like I said, we've got 12 months to go. So that's 12 months to make, we're going to make a decision soon on whether we sell, whether we keep. And I think, to be honest with you, none of those, possibly apart from one, you'd look at probably loaning out again, but it's keep or sell. And look, if we don't sell again, Clibbo, this time, how many more players are we going to lose on a free?
Well, I think we're going to lose quite a few out of this lot on a free, and I think that's got to be the last time that this happens. And I think we might have to take the hit. We will save on wages, of course, but we'll be making no money in terms of people buying.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you might sell the likes of Daka, for instance, but you're not going to get anywhere near. Even though he's got, we've had him for X amount of years. We can't do this again, and I think that's going to be a key thing tonight. That's the key question, isn't it? How many can we lose on a free? Is
it something like 300 million or something, Reece, that we've lost in in players going off on the free?
It's got to be close to that.
Well, yeah, obviously the biggest asset we lost in there was Yuri Tielemans, and obviously we valued him about 40-50 million quid. Yeah, you've got a Kelechi Iheanacho, he'd have been worth a few bob as well. Dennis Pratt, he might have been a few bob. So it's poor. It's really, really poor.
We lost 30 million on Slimani.
Slimani as well, yeah. You've got the likes of Slimani came a bit later as well. So no, it's poor management from the club, and they need to handle the situation better, which hopefully, fingers crossed, this will be the last time we have to deal with this sort of situation, because we need to go down the youthful path in terms of selling assets and stuff like that and build around the Seagrave project. So but we shall see.
Is it a case, Clibbo, before we move on to the first one, is it a case that not that we're necessarily buying the wrong players, but we're not making the most of them when we buy them, i.e. we buy a player for one position and then try and play him, out of position? I'm thinking of like Musa, Soumare to some degree. We buy them and expect them to play in other roles.
I think that's very much the case, and I've had this conversation with Reece a few times about strikers that we've bought that don't fit the actual system, and we've ended up ruining them. I mean, I'm not a fan of Daka, but I do think we've ruined him. For what raw talent he had, we've ruined him. The same with Slimani.
Well, I was going to say Slimani. I mean, when you look back in the Champions League, which is where he played most of his games, he was getting assists and goals at least, every game. Dangerous
with a head, very dangerous. One of the best, and we didn't really utilise it. I mean, you had like Ayew, he would pop up with headers, but I would say Slimani was even better.
Yeah,
with his head. And it's a dangerous weapon.
Just quickly on that, I think with the striker situation as well, with the likes of Musa, Daka, Tom Cannon, Slimani, it's very, very difficult when you've got a world-class striker in Jamie Vardy in front of you. It's a big, big hole to fill. So you have to factor that in as well. It's a lot of pressure. So, to fill in those sort of boots. And, you think you've got to perform every single week to get ahead of this guy. Like, look. But look at you had Kelechi Iheanacho scored 19 goals that season during COVID. Straight away he's dropped, and Jamie Vardy's back as number one. That's how hard it was for these strikers, I think.
But my point, I completely agree with what you're saying, and that's right. But my point is, we were buying strikers that were not like Jamie Vardy and expecting them to play like Jamie Vardy.
Yeah,
and it's not going to happen.
And we've ruined it. Well, do you think that this is down to weak management? Whoever came in hadn't got the balls to drop Jamie Vardy, because we know that look, with last, we were last in the Championship. I know, sort of, or even last season, every time Daka missed an effort, he was the worst player on the planet. Every time Jamie Vardy missed an effort, it's it's Vardy. Look at what he scored in the past, sort of thing. But
it's money in the bank.
You dare stand up to him almost.
Well, I think most managers are damned if you do and you're damned if you don't in that situation, because the fans were so loyal to Jamie Vardy, and I think who was it who tried to drop him? Which managers have actually dropped him? Rodgers dropped him for a while. Oh yeah. You see how that went. You've seen how that went, and so the manager is damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. If he wants to make his own decision based on his own skill set as a manager, he's got 32,000 people on his back. And that ultimately, if the fans want you sacked, they'll have you sacked.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, also with the Jamie Vardy and Claude Puel thing, I could understand where Claude Puel was coming from in that department, because hear me out. It's because Jamie Vardy, he was trying to move into a more possession-based style of football where everyone had to be good at a first touch, passing, like link-up play, whereas Vardy was still very much a counter-attacking striker. But then obviously Rodgers came in and just completely developed him. So that's where I could see where Claude Puel was coming from. You were trying to change the style up because Jamie Vardy was that counter-attacking striker. He weren't a possession-based striker, but obviously Rodgers came in and completely trumped that and developed him into a great possession-based all-round striker.
Yeah.
Indeed. Hi to Scott, hi to Blue Fox, Craig and Divano. Dan, the Burnley fans in. Most wanted, final child support payment, courtesy of Mrs. Riley. He's my on-screen son. Let me just say that. Tell Mrs. Riley she's had all that she's getting out of me. And last time she got anything out of me, you were the result. So I'm never going back there again. Those that know. Right, let's get on. Now Dan's diverted me. And we're going to go to the first player we're going to look at here. And it's Ricardo Pereira. Now, he's 31 years old. His main position is right back. He can play right midfield, and he can apparently play left back, and he has done that a few times. Last season, he only played 385 minutes. And for that, he was getting £80,000 a week, or 4.15 million a year. His value, look, again, you can go on 10 different sites and get 10 different valuations for him here. For this one, I've used Transfer Market, converted it from euros into pounds. His current value they've got us 4 million. His last contract renewal was the 18th of February 22. God, I can remember that as well. Now, Leicestershire Live say his agent has told Italian media he's seeking a more attractive project. And he finds one, it will be a blow to City. Ricardo is a fan favourite, and in his few appearances this season, he showed he can hit a level of quality few in the squad can. But his continued injuries troubles, which again plagued him this term, mean there would be doubts over the 31-year-old receiving a new deal. Reece, 31-year-old, and let's be honest with you, sick note, do you give him a new contract?
It's so hard because I can see both sides. Because obviously you've seen with Enzo when he came in, he utilised him really well in that inverted fullback role. And I think if you can play him in the right system, you can get a lot out of him, and we did that season. But obviously then you've got Steve Cooper come in and completely banished him from the squad almost. But it's really difficult because me and Uncle Clibbo have talked about this so many times in terms of if you've got 12 months left, we have to sell with the situation that we're in. But I think, me personally, I think with the experience he's got, and he's still a good footballer and he can still play in the first team, I would like to keep him around personally. Would I offer him another contract next season? I don't know. Is it worth taking this last 12 months and just, completely just ruling it out? Or do we? I don't know. This is 50-50 for me, this one. It's so hard.
That's what I like.
Splinters on your arse, Reece. Splinters on your arse.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, I'm just going to work this out, actually. So he plays 385 minutes, and he gets 4.15 million a year. 4.150000 divided by 385. We paid him £10,779 for every minute he was on the pitch.
Not bad work if you can get it, is it?
It's not. But that's my point. If we were going on pure talent, there's question marks over his age, but sometimes the one or two do sort of go, well, look at Jamie Vardy going on a little bit longer. But for me, it's his fitness. And at 31, when you're 18 and you get a bit of a knock, you're back up and running in a couple of weeks. At 31, you get a bit of a knock, and you're out for 2 or 3, 4 months, and that's the difference.
I personally think that after this season, if he goes on a free, he'll pick up a club. I don't think anyone's going to come in and pay money for him because of that reason. I think if we use him wisely this season, he will be an absolute must to be around the club. I still believe that Ayew we've got a replacement. Now, I'm not saying he's as good in terms of his brain, but he's faster, he's beefier, and he's less injury prone. So if he was to be sold, I would be gutted from the point of view that one of my favourite ever Leicester players is leaving the club. But I wouldn't begrudge it, because I still think we've got somebody who can come in and, especially in the Championship, do a job. I said to Reece when we bought that lad, and I seen a few bits and bobs when he played under Rude, very little. I said to him, in the Championship, we could develop him into a very, very tidy player. And this year's team is going to be all about power and pace, the speed of movement. It's just whether their brains can do it quickly.
We know he's good at this level because, look, we saw him under Enzo, didn't we? Enzo converted him to this inverted right back. Like you say, at the moment, we've got Justin and we've got Koulibaly on the right. We've got Christensen and Thomas on the left. So he could be deemed surplus to requirements. He is the most, like I say, look, he's 31. It's £80,000 a week. Like I say, over 10 grand, nearly 11 grand for every minute he was on that pitch. So if he went on that pitch and didn't touch the ball for the first minute, he's just earned 11 grand. I'm guessing if you're going to keep him, you're going to look at having to pay him the same or maybe a little bit more. I can't see that he would take a cut in pay. But do you risk losing the 4 million and just playing for this season, or do you try and sell him, Reece?
Like I said, it is really difficult.
When it keeps coming back to you, do you give me an answer? It's sell or extend. That's the option.
Do you know what the worst thing is, Chris? I've got a signed photo of him up here, a signed shirt from him up here. So that's what's making this really difficult for me. But
I've got the shirt and sight of Maddison there, but I still saw him leave the club.
Okay, right. I'll keep this very simple. No player's bigger than the club. If we get an offer, sell him.
Sell him. I think, yeah. Clibbo, are you a sell or a extend?
I agree wholeheartedly with what Reece just said. Sell.
Yeah. I've got to say as well, I would agree as well. Simply because it's his injuries and his age. Those are the two things. And, who is he stopping coming in because he's there? You know what I mean? With our financial problems, we've got to look at it in certainly black and white and go, can we afford £11,000 a minute? And that's the question, Scott says there, so Ricky's injuries concern me. Craig says, need to sell Ricky. Blue Fox says, I'd like him to stay, but if the offer is right, we have to let him go and wish him well. Mad Jason says he will get given the captain armband the whole season, so think he would start the most. I think he probably would start the most, but
he's got to be managed. He's got to be managed next season because of his injuries. He has to be managed. And that's why I think it's a good excuse for us to start developing Koulibaly.
Yeah. 46 games in the league. Let's say we have 5 games in the Caribou, 5 games in the FA. That's 56 games in a season. He ain't going to play 56 games, even if he stays fit.
No chance. No chance.
So, unfortunately, we've got three sells there. Now, interesting. That one was hard. James, just
you need your auctioneer's thing.
Sold to the gentleman in the t-shirt with no trousers on. James Justin, 27, left back, other positions, right back, right wing back. Although if you do look at transfer market, it says his main position is right back. I would argue with that. Minutes played last season, 2,920, 30 grand a week, annual wage of 1.56. His current market value is 11 million. And again, last contract renewal was February 22. Do you remember those days when we used to offer, sort out contracts quite early towards the end? We didn't leave till the last minute. Reece, the Mercury basically are saying it's an interesting case. He was picked out supporters for his early season struggles, but remained in the side and finished their campaign with more minutes than any other player. Wow, I didn't realise that. Only the final few months, he was also one of City's more consistent performers. Since the ACL and Achilles injuries in quick succession, it doesn't feel like Justin's return to the heights he reached. A versatile 27-year-old who can still play at a good level in the Premier League may be worthy of a new deal. So that's what Leicestershire Live is saying. Reece, your thoughts on Justin?
I would give him one more year after this one if we go up. Now, with these kids coming through, all the youngsters, you need some experience. But I've always said, and I've said this on previous shows, you don't need to be over 30 to have experience. And you've still got a player here that's more than capable of playing majority of the games next season. He needs to be utilised properly in his rightful position. I would personally put him in the left wing-back spot, because I think that's how Marty Cifuentes is going to play, with probably Woyo on the right with the high fullbacks. And also he can play in a back three as well. Like I say, he's a very good utility player. So I think for me, if that is his wages, 30k a week, personally, I don't think it is. I think it might be a little bit higher than that, but obviously we'll go with what the sources are saying.
Yeah.
I would give him one more year after this one, because he has looked sharp this preseason. I'll give him his due. He looks very, very sharp. So he looks like he's out to prove a point. So yes, I would happily give him a contract extension.
I've got to say, I was surprised at the 30k, but I can only go off, and the sites are there at the bottom telling you who I've got it off. Is it? I hate to say this, Clibbo, but are we looking at every time a player gets a bad, whether it's an ACL or Achilles, we're basically never getting them back in the way that we let them go, are we?
Well, you could argue that the sacking of the medical guy under Rodgers, our injury list and our record has not been great, particularly when they've come back from injury. So you don't know. There's all sorts of extenuating circumstances when players come back. It depends on their muscle development. It could be anything. So, in terms of, if he's on 30 grand a week, which I doubt, but how many contracts has he signed at Leicester first?
Oh, now hang on a second. You really tested him, haven't you?
Signed 2. Right, that makes a difference then, because he came from Luton as a young player on a deal, did well. They must have improved his wages to 30 grand, and he must have been happy with it. Now, I understand what you're saying, Reece, but there's no player on earth at 27 who's going to sign a 1-year contract with any club. Even if it was Real Madrid, you ain't signing a 1-year deal, because now's the time where you're sort of at your peak years and you need to earn your money before you have your twilight contract. So that's never going to happen. I would be happy for him to do a 2-year deal, providing his money isn't ridiculous, because obviously we need to get rid of the high earners and get back to a wage structure that's sustainable. So I would give him 2 years, because he was a scapegoat last year, particularly under that dipshit Cooper, who exposed the crap out of him week in, week out. And I would have willingly kicked that bloke in the nuts for what he did to JJ.
Sit on the fence now, Clibbo. You get off that fence and say exactly what you think.
I can't look at the bloke. He irritates the bejesus out.
Could you argue that giving him a 2-year deal could hinder some of the youth players coming through and knock their development?
No, I don't know, because like you said, and we've alluded to several times, that there has to be in every club, barring the 92 Man United team, there has to be a level of experience in that team always. Now, JJ is a versatile player, so he can be moved left, right. If players, he can swap about. So no, I don't see that as an issue at all with JJ.
Okay.
Not like Vardy, who was cock blocking, wasn't he? Really.
I mean, for me, I think the fact that we've already just said that we're going to sell Pereira, I think that makes me want to keep James Justin. Because I think we need one of them. Because, like you said, Clibbo, I was going to say as well, is that we need some experience. And this guy, let's be honest with you, he was actually he did get into the England team, didn't he? And then unfortunately got injured. So, he's no slouch. I think he's on more than 30, but I don't think he's on the 80 that Ricky P's on. So I think value-wise as well, and he can play, although I don't like him on the right, he can get over to the right if, let's say, Koulibaly gets injured or whatever. So, I've got to say, and I think whether it's a 1 year or a 2 year, again, Clibbo, you make a good point. He isn't going to take a 1 year. If we get up to the Premier League, then I think he can still do a job in the Premier League because he'll still only be sort of 28 then if we get promoted. I think as well is if he's not a starter, let's say, but he's on the bench, and let's say we've either got Koulibaly or let's say, just for example, Thomas on the left, and they are struggling, and we're getting done one. You're bringing him on with his experience, and I think and like I say, out of him and Ricky P, he's the less injury prone, although he is a little bit, and he is cheaper. So you're both saying, although you disagreed on the length of the contract, you're both saying extend it for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's three. As Clement go, you've got 3 yeses, Justin. He's got. Let's have a look what people are saying in the chat. I think you have to take into consideration, says Scott, JJ is versatile. We have so many fullbacks out of contract next summer. I would always change his mind having listened to us and say keep. Blue Fox says keep. Let's have a look. Keep JJ still young, says Ray. Maybe he gets back to fitness. I think there's a thing as well. I sometimes, you just don't realise. I thought this guy was in his 30s because he's just been around so long, but we've got him quite young from Luton. So at the moment, we're doing very well. We're all agreeing. Will that carry on? Well, let's have a look. Third up, talking of, we're going through defenders first, as you can see. This isn't Silko, this is Luke. Luke Thomas, he's 24. I still think of him, again, going the other way. I still think of him as like 19 or something like that. He's actually older than Christiansen. Left back, he can also play left midfield and centre back. He played 1,112 minutes, 15k he's on, so he's on, still quite a low wage, 780, not even on $1 million a year, 780,000. His current market value is 5 million, and he's been with us since 2019, and he's lost contract, although I've not put it there, so he was 2022. That was his contract extension. Even 3 months ago, it says it has seemed Thomas was destined for an exit, but he became City's first choice left back in the final weeks of the campaign, and fans appreciated the aggression and passion he showed. It now feels like he's in a good spot to play regularly next season, but it feels like his future beyond that will be dependent on the club's ambitions. Reece, I do not get the hatred that we seem to have got for this guy.
Yeah, I think Brendan Rodgers needs to be held accountable for the poor development of Luke Thomas because of I think he was brought in way too early. When he was brought in, it was towards the end of the 1920 season. Obviously, we went into COVID, and then he came through because of the injuries to Chilwell. Yeah. And I think it was poor management on him from Brendan Rodgers on that department. He needed to go out on loan straight away the next season, but he didn't. He kept him around.
Was it a case of we had to bring him in because we had nobody else that season?
Well, yeah, I'm on about the season after. Like we should have. Yeah, we should have sent him out the season. Me and Uncle Clibbo agree on it. He should have gone out on loan the season after to go out and develop properly, like we have done with the likes of Nelson and players like that. But he didn't. So he's had his development hindered a bit. He's bulked up quite a lot. So he has improved on his physicality a lot. And I think he's improved his game a hell of a lot, especially when I think Rude's worked with him a bit as well. So if he's happy to sign, then I would definitely keep him. But it's just that thing with players with 12 months. If he doesn't want to sign a contract, then we have to sell him and we have to get some money for him. But let's be hypothetical. If I'm the director of football, I'd be like, Luke, we want to give you a contract extension. So my answer is yes, I would give him a contract extension. 2 years. I'd give him 2 years.
Extend for 2 years. Clibbo, what are your thoughts on him?
Pretty much exactly. This is one that me and Reece have wrestled over for hours. This Luke, and we've talked about his poor development through, whether it was forced or not. But he always was lightweight, and he needed to go to League One, get in a bruising team, and beef up. My only concern about Luke Thomas is it very much depends on the system that we're using, because I think if you're using pacey wing backs, where your team is reliant on pace, that's something that he's not the best at. But and the last 2 games in pre-season, those old habits where he gets caught and span. I've seen it in both games. He got spun really easily by what I would consider lesser players than him, because I do think he's a talented boy, and I do think he gets a lot of hate. I had to convince Reece over many, many, many months that this boy is actually an all right player, and he eventually come round. Yeah, I don't hate on the bloke. I'd like to see him do well. He's one of our own, and I think given the right system, he's an asset to us. And let's be honest, he was the best defender we had last season. So yeah, on that basis, I think he's still got time to develop into a half-decent Premier League player. Whether he'll be a starter in the Prem, I don't know, but he'd be in the squad.
So you would extend him then?
Yeah, I definitely would. He's only, 24? He's nowhere near his peak, is he yet?
That's another thing. Sorry, Chris, go on.
Sorry. First of all, sorry, Clibbo, then I'll come to you. What length would you give him?
Well, given that he's got a year left, I would extend it for another 2 years.
Right. Sorry, Reece. Go and carry on.
Sorry, apologies, lads. I think also this does come down to the system that we're going to play. Don't you nod it? Don't you shake your head at me, Uncle Clibbo. I also do think this comes down to the system that Marty will play. Now, I think if he plays inverted fullbacks, Ricky P will get the nod. If he plays attacking wing backs, JJ will get the nod. Luke Thomas is better in a back 3 when we're building up possession of the ball. It's like Uncle Clibbo says, he's not fast as a wing back, and he's not an inverted fullback. So I think this all comes down to who fits the system. So it's all, I personally would keep him because I think he's very good in a back 3, and I think he could be utilised very well. But I do think this is down to the fact that what system we're going to play. But I would still extend for 2 years.
I mean, for me, one of the best games he had, he was playing on the left of a back 3, and I think he can. I think he can play that left-sided the role. Maybe, I mean, if you said to me, and unfortunately, Christensen's contract isn't due up this year, but if it was out of him and Christian, and I could only keep one, I'd keep this guy. Now, I've kind of slightly differed to you, because I've said, yes, we should extend it. I'm just worried about how long we leave these contracts to be signed. Knowing Leicester, it'll be sort of, next March when we start talking to them. If it is, I would actually go so far as to give him a 3-year. Because, like you say, although he's 24, still got things to learn with the right manager, and I think he could. So I'd actually go so far as to give him a 3-year. I think it didn't work out for him at Sheffield United. They obviously sent him back from the Premier League, the season before, after, was it January window they sent him back? And I think that kind of, let's be honest with you, Sheffield United, they made our defence look good, didn't they? I mean, they were awful that season, and that's going to knock anybody's confidence. And then, of course,
I think we're actually agreeing here, Chris, to be honest, just slightly worded differently, because I'm thinking if they offer him now, that's 3 years.
Yeah.
Whereas you're saying offer him at the end of this year, then so it's 3 years. We're agreeing 3 years, really.
I do think he's got a lot to offer, and like I say, Middlesbrough wasn't again the best move for him. Sort of, if you're going to go out, I think he's too old to go out on loan now. But when if you do go out on loan, you've got to get that club right. £5 million if we did sell him. But look, he's one of those players that when you're looking at the finance, it's he's not one of the high wage earners. When you compare him, say, to Ricky P. Kevin says Thomas gets bossed about too much with strong wingers. Against needs a bit more beef on him. Not a first choice defender. But we've got to have squad players. There's so many games next season. We have to have the squad. Blue Fox says think he has proved himself useful and on a lower wage. Exactly. Scott says Luke Thomas depends on if Christensen leaves. Like I was saying, I mean, we've been linked with this Forest guy, haven't we? But only if Christian leaves. How's he going to be welcome? If Luke Thomas is the main recognised left back because Christensen leaves, they give Thomas another 2-year contract. Passion says, keep Thomas, please. I think he can do food. I think he means good in the Championship. Right, let's... look, bloody hell, are we going to argue? I did think when I renamed this for Fox's sake, I nearly did think about calling it Family Feud, but you two are doing too much, really.
There'll be one or two. There'll be one or two where we disagree.
There may be. Will it be the next one? Because the next one up is Connor Coady. I have a feeling I know where this one might be going. 32 years old, centre-back. Apparently can also play defensive midfield. I didn't realise, because I thought he had played for us last season 1,713 minutes, although it was less than the 2,324 minutes he was on TalkSport. His weekly wage is 75,000, 3.9 million a year. His current market value is only 2 million, and obviously he signed for us on 1st of July 23. That was when he signed the contract. And look, we all know Rangers are after him. We get a guy coming in here, keep asking any news on him. I mean, if they want him, I know what I would be saying. Reece, I think we all agree we need to keep a experienced centre-back. Is this the one we keep for you?
No, I think he's more interested in being a TalkSport presenter than being a footballer, to be honest with you. So, no, just I'll make this short and sweet. Just get rid. 75k a week. I mean, he doesn't hardly play. He's not going to fit Marty Cifuentes' system. He's not a good passer of the ball. He's slow. He's lethargic. Just get rid, please. Just get him off the wage bill. Would you rather keep Wout Faes or this guy?
This guy. You've asked me the wrong two there. I would personally go and if Wout Faes was to have a car accident with a life support machine, I would literally get up to Leicester, get to the infirmary, and turn the plug off. The guy is just, like I've always said, he's taking up somebody else's oxygen. I cannot stand that guy. He is absolutely useless. As bad as this guy is, if it was out the two of them, I would keep this guy. But
I think this guy's. I think we can all agree this guy's going to be on more than what Wout Faes is on. I think.
Yeah.
So and it's we're at a point where we need to get rid of wages. So that's why I'm saying I'd rather get rid of this guy than. I mean, obviously I want both out, but I'd rather get rid of this guy first than Wout Faes. And obviously Wout Faes is more he's more valuable. He's got a bit more value to his name than this donkey has. So, but no, straight up, get rid of him. Just get rid, please.
Right. Well, shall we find out how much Wout Faes is on?
Probably about 65 grand.
Yeah, about 55, 60k, I'd say.
I did have. I can't find. There we go. Is this it? No, that's not it. I thought I'd saved it from earlier. I don't think I was that clever. No, I don't know. I'll try and find out, or if anybody else can find out how much he's on. You are a sell, Reece. Clibbo, I mean, we all go on about the fact of how he's on Talk Sport a lot, but he's only allowed to do that if the club say he's allowed to do that. So that's not his. But he was doing. Was it one of the Club World Cup games he was doing? He obviously is seeing his post footballing career as a pundit in some ways. But he's 32, ex-England. And I was quite excited when we bought him, and maybe that injury right at the start didn't do him any favours because he was then always playing catch-up with Vestergaard. But would you keep this guy?
Well, first of all, what I'd like to say is I have no problem with him doing any of the TV shows, none whatsoever. The guy's 32. He is obviously looking out for himself for the future. What I don't like is that I'm not saying it's taken away from his abilities on the pitch, but the commitment he shows on the pitch, whether it's just he's slowed down, he's just not as good anymore. If he showed the same amount of commitment that he does to his other ventures, then maybe we'd have an half-decent player. But for me, it's an easy one. Sell. Rangers won't buy him. There's no way. They're not going to pay. They are not paying half of that, what he's on. They're not paying. They haven't got it. Rangers can't afford them. So, and that's all gone quiet. So if we can get $1 million from him, if we can get 500 grand for him, get rid of him.
Yeah.
He's a drain on the resources.
That's the thing, isn't it? Maybe you've got to look at it and go, all right, like if market value is now only 2 million, we bought him in a combined deal with Winks. I'm not sure exactly how much he was worth, but he's worth at 2 million. If we get 500,000 for him, which would help Rangers then pay him a higher wage bill,
get him.
Then Scott, it's on the thing above you that it says 75,000. Vestergaard, I've just checked for you here, Reece. Not Vestergaard, Faes you were asking for, weren't you? Faes is on 50 grand a week.
Well, that says it all. I actually think like Wout Faes they're both dog shit. Let's just put it that way. But I think Wout Faes has got more better quality than what Conor Coady has, in my opinion. He will run forward with the ball, and he's a better passer of the ball than Conor Coady. So you got your Wout Faes, you got your Sarcho Bobwig there.
Yes. Keep going, Val. If we ever sell him, I've got to get rid of that, haven't I? But I'm sorry, this guy, he's not. Winks did very well when we bought him. This guy, like I say, he got injured. Vestergaard came in, took his chance, and Enzo stuck with him. Like I say, he is on TalkSport a lot, but these players can only go on these things if the club give them permission. So the club are obviously planning not to use him or whatever and allow him to do those. No, I've got to sell him. I'm sorry, I've got to agree with you two again. And if it means taking a 250,000, just get him off the wage bill. We can't afford 75 grand a week now. For him, he's useless, basically. But like Blue Fox said, if somebody will buy him, Mad says never really rated him. Faces on Fier, just found that out. So, yeah, I can't see there being a future at him, especially with the youngsters coming through and the youngsters we've got. So I would agree. sell the guy for whatever we can just get for him. And if it, like I say, if it means just doing a deal, we've got to look at the bit. And I do annoy me about the club. It's like, we want 2 million. Well, we can't afford his wages. We'll give you 1 million. No. We want 2.
Yeah.
We're kind of paying 75 grand a week wages, but we want 2 million. You know, I don't get it. Is it just me that doesn't understand economics or whatever? But take a cut in his wages, otherwise he's going to go for nothing anyway. So we're going to take a cut in his value, or he goes for a free in 12 months anyway. And like I said, I don't rate him that well to keep him. But why doesn't the club just take a loss on his, his market value just to get him off the wage bill, Clibbo?
It does make sense. I think the thing is with Leicester, when they were negotiating, and it was like with Dennis Pratt, the same. I think they were operating on past glories. We're Leicester City. We've won this, and we're this. You're not going to dictate to us. Well, you know what? We're Leicester City in the Championship now with a points deduction coming, and we're not in no driving seat. We're nowhere near in the driving seat. What we could end up doing is being stuck with these players for another season on those wages, blocking potential transfers. And we all know if the club wants to develop, these are the kind of players that you're going to have to bench or even not get in the squad. And they're going to be sat on 75 grand a week. I mean, it's ludicrous. It's madness.
Yeah, and Scott says there, trying to get a bigger transfer fee will help the PSR, for example. And I agree the wage bill is the main issue, and that obviously affects PSR as well. Right, we're still not disagreeing. Will we disagree over this guy? Boubakary Soumare, 24 years old. Apparently, his main position allegedly is a defensive midfielder. I don't like it. It's like the only defensive midfielder in football that doesn't like to tackle. Central midfield is another position. Somehow, I don't know how, but he managed to play over 2,000 minutes for us last season, 2,170. But then again, I think, well, we did have Ruud van Nistelrooy in charge, didn't we? So that probably explains it. 80 grand a year he's on, 80 grand a week, 4.16 million a year. He's valued at 10 million, signed for us in July 21. Is anybody going to put up a defence for keeping this guy, Reece?
Not me.
No, not for me. I think, I have seen a lot of potential in him. There is a player in there. There was certain games last season where I thought this guy's a beast. He had that Yaya Toure aura about him at moments. But I have to disagree with his main position. I don't think, again, when he first came in, when he was at Lille, he was utilised as a box-to-box midfielder, and that's where his best position was. But then Rodgers, for some reason, tried to convert him into a defensive midfielder, which I didn't really agree with because I don't think you're getting the best out of Soumare that way. But no, I mean, 80 grand a week. From what I've seen in training, he doesn't really train well. He's very lazy. I mean, that's probably his sort. He needs to go back to like the French league or a Spanish league, a slower paced league, which will suit his style more. I don't think English football's for him. So no, the best opportunity we can to get rid of him, just take it.
It's one of those players for me, Clibbo, where if we'd taken him on loan, he wouldn't be with us now. But he is what I would call a Tete player. He, had one good game when you suddenly thought, wow, this guy can really do it. And then we never saw anything of him again. I don't see what he brings to the team at all.
Never been a Premier League player. Never will be a Premier League player. To be a Premier League player takes more than having the odd game where you show some brilliance. Premier League player is about somebody who has a consistent level where their bottom level is still Premier League. And then you've got the special players, but this guy has never been Premier League for me. I've never been impressed with him I hate lazy players. I played football as a youth, and the one thing our managers would kick us asses up for was not putting effort in. And they, back in the day, they would shout at you whether you were under 14s, under 12s, or whatever. This guy seems to get a free pass. I just think he might be a lovely guy, but his attitude for me on the football pitch, he's not one that you'd want in the trenches with you. And next season, or the season coming up, there's going to be moments where it's going to be very tough for Leicester. And I would not want him. I don't want him in the squad in them situations, let alone in the team. So I would sell him now.
Reece, somebody's put there, and he's not a Premier League player, but we're not in the Premier League. Could he do a job in the Championship, or is he not even a Championship-rated player?
I don't think so. I don't think he's got the balls to be a Championship player.
No, I think for me, in terms of ability-wise and what we've seen on the ball, I'm just playing devil's advocate. But I think in terms of ability-wise and on the ball, I think and I honestly think if he had the work rate, he'd be probably the best centre midfielder in the league in terms of ability-wise. But unfortunately, in that league, you need guts, you need determination, you need some balls about you. You need to get stuck into tackles because you're going to come up against some right brutes in the midfield when you face the likes of Sheffield Wednesday, all these bottom table clubs. They're going to try and bully you. They're not going to try and beat you in terms of ability on the ball and stuff. They're going to try and bully you, and this guy would get pushed all over the pitch, in my opinion. So, not for me. No, I think there's better players in terms of strength-wise in the squad. So, no, not for me in the Championship.
I saw him Clibbo against, I think it was Peterborough. Peterborough we played, wasn't it? And what I liked about the game against Peterborough is when when they attacked us, our players were running back. Except
they got into position quickly.
Yeah, except this guy, and he was still jogging back. Is he better than Chowdhury Planet Earth? No, I don't think he is.
Ability-wise, yes. Ability-wise, yes. On the ball and stuff, but in terms of physicality and putting in a tackle, not a chance. I'd rather have Chowdhury in the Championship.
So would I.
You can teach tactics, can't you? You can't teach, the physicality and when you look at this guy, I first thought, brick shithouse here. Here's the sort of Roy Keane sort of midfielder that's going to put his foot in and say, "Oi, be careful, I'm here." And no, he's just not like that at all. And Clibbo, his value is 10.3 million. Is probably the one we can get the most money for.
Well, I think if he's marketed right, arrogant, lazy, with a bit of skill, I think he's perfect for the French league.
You said the French are arrogant here, Clibbo.
I did add league on the end.
Okay.
We should be getting 8 to 10 million for him, but he'll do all right in those leagues because he can swan round. The pace isn't the same. No. Although we do say that a lot, and and you watch the odd game in Europe, and you think actually that's quicker than I had last imagined. But I think he did all right in his loan. Although they didn't buy him, did they?
No. Although again, wasn't that the fact that we were asking too much money?
Well, I don't know how much we were asking, but if he's worth 10 million now, then me and Reece have probably got to be worth $1 million each.
Well, I'd sooner have you. Planet Earth, he'll do well in the Championship, then sell. Scott says, is he good at dog walking or chow minding, just in case some issues arise this season? Fair point, Scott. I would consider selling Soumare, says Prashant. As it stands, indeed, he won't start, then Booba. No, Planet, I can't agree with you on that. It's your opinion, I respect it, but I can't agree with that. Doesn't seem to concentrate enough at all. Yeah, no, 80,000 a week. That's the other big thing as well, isn't it? And yes, he got the minutes in. Again, I don't know how. But 80 grand a week? No, 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 no. Hi, Helen. How you doing? Yeah, 10 million would be good at us. Watcher says we've already drained the swamp before, but the swamp soon filled back up. We need clever signings. Yes, it does indeed. As they always say, I've got a soft spot for this guy. And as I say, it's the swamp at the bottom of the garden. So I'm up for selling as well. And again, we all agree. We've sold 3 and we've extended 2. Who's up next? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Mr. Harry Winks, age 29. Reece is just getting warmed up for this one. Defensive midfielder, other positions, central midfield, minutes played 1,340 until the manager stuck up, didn't get on with him. £90,000 a week, allegedly, 4.68 million a year. His current value is 7.7 million. And of course, he last renewal, or he signed for us July 23, along with Mr. Coady. Reece, I'm just going to put my feet up and get a book out. You go for it, mate.
Well, I'm going to hear me out here. Just hear me out. I can see Winks playing next season because of his style of play and, how he will fit into the system. But I think if we get an offer for him, we need to sell us ASAP with this guy. I mean, 90 grand a week in the Championship. I mean, I heard a little rumor from a reliable source that we offered him 20 grand more than his Tottenham Hotspur contract in the Championship. I mean, that's ludicrous in itself. That is just absolutely ludicrous. So, no, I mean, I can see. I'm trying to think of all aspects here because I can see the manager keeping him because of his style of play and how he would break lines and with his holding midfielding position. But I think in terms of the club situation, if we get 7.5 million for him, which I don't think we will, because with his age and he's got 1 year left in his contract, if you can get around 5 for him, I mean, if we get 4 or 5 mil for him, just sell ASAP. I think he's a bad influence on the dressing room in terms of his attitude. With the whole not staying over one night a week. So I would sell ASAP if it comes to finances.
Clibbo?
For several reasons, he'll be out the door as quick as a flash for me. There is no value other than if he has an exceptional season in the Championship and gets us promoted, but there's no guarantee of that. But 90 grand a week, even if he's dropping to 45 or 50 grand a week, it's too much because he's not worth it. I don't think he's worth £7 million of anyone's money, £7.7 million. I think if we get 3 million for him, get rid of him. Because for me, Go and put he's not a Premier League player. He's not good enough for the Premier League, and it was found out as soon as somebody jumps on him. He hasn't got the brain speed. He panics. He looks around. He's a side to side passer. No, get rid of him. Go play in the Spanish league in the lower. He'll do all right there. But if we got up. He's not playing, is he? Because you'd want better. And he showed that last season. I thought he was crap last season. I don't like his attitude.
When we got him, I was really pleased. And my brother-in-law, who's a Man United fan, was like, "You've got him? Who? No, you haven't. No, he was at a barbecue when it was announced." And I'm so torn on this one because when it comes to the attitude in regard, him not wanting to stay overnight, I'm definitely Team Winks on that, not Team Van Nistelrooy. I'm sorry, I think Van Nistelrooy could have turned around and said, "I'm dropping you this week and I'm dropping you next week. You're not going to get your match fees for 2 weeks, dock you 2 weeks' wages." But then you bring him back because he was such an important player compared to what we've got. Do you know what I mean? Would I still have Harry Winks and Soumare? 100%. Then you go on about, yes, he's a side-to-side player. One of the greatest ever players was Ray Wilkins. And he was called what was his nickname? Crab, because he only ever went side to side. But he was an England international regular for many, many years. And it's all about holding the ball. The thing that's stopping me going...
Different era.
It was different era, but if you've not got the ball, you're not going to do anything, are you? And so if he can retain the ball, however, and hear me out, however, the one thing that's making me think is he did very, very well in the Championship, but 100% he's not a Premier League player. So if we're hoping to go up next season, and it's questionable whether we will, of course, we all don't, we've no idea what's going on. If we extend his contract, we've got him again for another season or whatever in the Premier League, and he isn't a Premier League player. And a lot of Spurs fans said when we got him, he's not a Premier League player, he's only a Championship player. Brad will tell you he's got a friend who's a Spurs fan. I don't think we'll get 7.7 million. Look, we're a relegated team. This might be his market value, but when do you ever pay a relegated team the market value for a player? You don't. If Rude was still here, he'd be gone. I think if we get an offer of anything like 2 million and upwards, grab the hand off and get the contract and lock it in a safe somewhere before they can get it and change their mind. Because it is not worth 90 grand a week. That's the thing now. And yes, he was good in the Championship, but if we do keep him for the Championship season, we're going to lose. We're going to get nothing for him at the end of the season. So whatever we get offered, get 90 grand a week off the wage bill and sell him. And I'm surprised at myself, but I've been thinking about Harry Winks, and I was tossing and turning. Should we keep him? Shouldn't we keep him? So yeah, but I'm ending up agreeing with you. Scott says, Chris, can you convince Dan to have a word with Scott Parker to bring in Winks? We'd love it. We'd love it. Sell Winks regardless of fee coming in. He's not a Premier League quality, but we have players in his position. Yeah, it's not. I mean, midfield is probably one of the areas that we're actually well covered for. And you got Alves, you've got Braybook if he stays, Monga. Yeah, you've got those midfielders. We can probably afford to lose him. Planet Earth doesn't sit on the fence here. He was crap last season, but we're not in the Premier League. We're playing teams, players like Winks will win against. This time next year he goes. But if we do that, then we don't get a penny for him, Planet. That's the problem. Was key to our Championship campaign, says Blue Fox, so could be useful. With high wages and bad attitude, I'd sell if we get a good offer. Paul, he can't do 1 day a week away and then post pics of his missus and him drinking cocktails. Then more fool him. Planet Earth, if we don't sell Winks this summer, we lose him. Yeah, no, exactly, Scott. So, yeah, I think we're all agreed on there. Whatever we can get for him, we should sell and make the most, and just get him off the wage bill. Because, if we can get 7 million, great. But I mean, 90. I mean, if we sold him for, let's say, 2 million, we've saved 4.6 million on wages. So we've nearly got the 7 million back straight away, So that's it. So,
like I said, this season's all about getting as much money as we can for these sort of players. Yes. So any opportunity we can. Even with the likes of Luke, if someone comes and offers like Luke Thomas 5 million, we have to take it. If he's not gonna stay, So it's about getting as much money as we can, licking PSR asses again. So that it's like I said, no player is bigger than the club, and people have to realise that.
Exactly. Wanya Marcal now. 22 he is, right winger, other positions attacking midfielder, and can also play on the left. He didn't play any minutes last season because he was alone at Graschap. 3k a week, 156,000 a year. Current market value 205 million. last renewed July 23. It's hard to say with this one, isn't it, Reece? Because we've not really seen him apart from, 90 odd minutes over 2 friendly games. What would you do with this guy?
Well, this is an interesting one because obviously I didn't think he was as old as he was, not 22. And at that age, at 22, I'd expect someone like him to be coming into the first team, and start delivering numbers and stuff. But we've got players like Abdul, who's 20, and he's delivering on the pitch. So this is a bit of an interesting one for me. I mean, when we saw him under Enzo, they were very raw talent, very direct, but his end product was poor. So I would personally give him another 2 years because that would take him to like 24 years old. And I think it's low risk. You're not losing too much money. He's only on 3K a week. I think we can afford to give this guy another chance in the Championship. And I do think he needs to start coming in his own at the age of 22. Because he'll be, he's a lot older than Monga and he's doing ridiculous. He's doing ridiculous at his age. So he needs to start delivering numbers to, get a more regular first team position. But because it's low risk and you're not losing that much financially, I would keep him for a 2-year extension.
Clibbo?
Got a bit of a soft spot for him, actually. There's something about him that I watch and I get quite excited when he's on the ball. He sometimes doesn't make the right decisions, but I think in pre-season you can see that he's developed since we last had him. There was constructive criticism of him in terms of his either his final delivery or his finishing or whatever. But I think you could label that pretty much all of them so far. We've been toothless up front, really, haven't we? So I'd like him to stay, and I would give him another contract. I'd give him a 2 or 3 year deal because I do think there's a player there that's quite exciting. I think we were playing, was it Peterborough? And somebody pinged the ball across over to him. He just brought it down out the sky and I thought, yeah, that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. Good control of the ball, bosh, pace, gone, ran, down the wing like an old-fashioned winger. But unfortunately, it ended up, I think he got down to the byline and nothing really came of it. But again, there was little to nothing to pass to in the box. So I'd like to see what he's like with either a big striker up front or a little fox in the box where there's a little intricate pass that can go to him. I think we can judge him better in that situation. But I like him. I would keep him. Still young.
Yeah, what they're saying is returning to the squad after a year away. Marcal didn't pull up any trees on loan in the Dutch second tier, although he was injured for a significant period. It may mean that Marcal goes out on loan again, but he doesn't sign a new deal beforehand. He's likely to be set for a free transfer thereafter. I just think that this could be one of those situations where, through no fault of his own, do we need him, is the question I'm going to ask. Because, as a right winger or a left winger or attacking midfielder, you've got Pataru, you've got Mavadidi, you've got El Kanous, you've got Monga, you've got McAteer. I mean, how far down the ladder is he going to be to get in? And I know, was he one of our own? Wanya Marcal?
I believe.
I don't know how long he's been in the club.
I think he's. Let's have a look. I think he's Portuguese for some reason. Let's have a look.
You could be right.
Yes, I think you are right.
He's born in England, but place of birth, Leicester, England. So he is one of our own, technically.
So he's one of our own. So basically, whatever we get for him is going to be total profit for PSR. Now, we're not going to get a lot for him, 2.5 million. But then look at what we got for 2.5 million. We got possibly a good, right back in Koulibaly for not a lot more than that. I just don't see. There's no point for me for keeping players round. I mean, look. Let me ask you two guys: if if we were struggling in a game, we were 1-0 down, it was 1-1, and we wanted to change things up, and maybe, Fatawu or Mavididi aren't particularly, they're having a bad game, they've got 2 or 3 players on them. Who do you look at to bring on? Him or Monga?
Well, I personally... Go on, Uncle Clibbo, you go first one.
No, go on.
Well, I personally think Monga will be starting games, so I don't think Monga will be coming off the bench very often. But I'd kind of look at this, to go off topic a little bit, I'd kind of look at this as a low-risk project with this guy, because, it's very, very valuable we keep these sort of players about, because if he does do well, if he has a little good season, we can sell him, for 5, 6, 7 million. It all counts towards PSR. This is what we've got. We've got to look at the bigger picture here. We have to look, we have to look into these sort of things, this guy could make us up to 10 million potentially. That's straight on that's 10 million into PSR pockets. So we've got to keep as many homegrown talents around as we can to sell them on in the future. If they're not good enough, they're not good enough, but we get some money for them. So this is why I'd keep him about. He's low risk. And going back to your point originally, Chris, about would I bring him on? It depends what sort of game we're playing. It depends if we're playing a low block or, if we're playing someone that's playing a high line. It all depends on the opposition. If we're playing someone with a high line, I'd bring this guy on because he's got pace to burn, literally pace to burn. And his end product's improved a little bit. He's still got a lot to work on. But I wouldn't be against this guy coming on and trying to make a difference on that right or left-hand side. Not at all.
I just think that at 22, that if he was going to come through, like an Evans, like a Monga, like a Joseph, people like that, he would have done it by now. Why is he going out on loan at 22? This is when he should be hitting his peak. And yet last season, he went out on loan. Yeah, all right, he got injured. This is the first one I'm going to disagree with you guys. I don't see the point in keeping him. I
think it makes absolute financial sense to give him a contract. I think it'd be crazy to let him go on a free. If you gave him 10 grand a week and then it didn't work out and you sold him for 750 grand, you're getting some profit. I think it'd be crazy, criminal actually, to get rid of him. And he didn't look any more out of place playing in those pre-season games than anyone else, with the exception of a couple, obviously.
Than anyone else except for I know you're referring to as well. No, I'm just not. At 22, he should now be either established or we get rid of him.
Vardy wasn't.
Sorry?
Vardy wasn't.
We can't compare everybody to Vardy.
I can see where Chris is coming from. I really, really do. But I think only because this guy's homegrown. Okay, Uncle Clibbo, I'll put this to you. If someone offered you that 2.5 million right now for him, would you take it?
2.5 million?
Yeah, because that's what his current market value is.
Yeah, I would take it, but I would reluctantly take it. But yes, I would take it.
It's all about PSR, get as much money as you can.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm thinking. You get 2.5. Well, let's say they'll get 2 million for him now, or goes on a free in a year. So I don't think he's proved enough to get that contract extension. I just don't think he's done enough. That's the thing. Okay. So you've got 2 of you there. Reece, you'd give him 2 years. Clibbo, you give him 2 or 3 years. First one we've disagreed on. I would sell him, and I'm unanimous in that. Armchair.
We win that one, Reece. 2-1, I think.
Yeah.
No. I actually get 3 votes. So I actually want that 3-2. Armchair says I'd only keep him if it was a choice between him or Daka. He'll run out his contract leave for free. Am I right in thinking, says Scott, he still comes under the Premier League 2 squad, hence won't affect the main team numbers? I don't know. But he's 22 now. I'm sorry if you haven't proved anything by now. To me, that says it all. Prashant, thanks very much, mate. You got to go. Appreciate you popping in. Thank you indeed. 2 more to go. Ayew. He's 33. I didn't know this. I thought his main position was centre forward, but according to Transfer Market, his main position is actually right winger. He can also
Never
play
been.
forward and left winger, but I thought his main position was centre forward. He played 1,644 minutes. He's on 30k annual wage a week. Annual wage 1.56 million. Current market value is 2 million. Obviously, signing 24. He's got 12 months to go. I'm torn on this one because I like Jordan Ayew if he's playing that central attacking role because he can hold the ball up for the youngsters coming on. Will ever get us a foul, break up play, if we need a break or need a rest. But if we go back up, he's going to be 34, and he's not Jamie Vardy, is he? Can he do it at 24? So I'm torn, but I like the guy. I think he could be our main striker or one of the main strikers we use next season. But I don't know whether at this point, to keep him or sell him. You're going to have to convince me, guys. Reece.
Difficult one. I personally wouldn't offer him an extension of his contract. I think this guy is going to be a bench player next season. I cannot see Marty Cifuentes touching this guy with a barge pole. I don't think he'll fit the style of play. I mean, I watched him at the weekend, and he is so slow in pressing the ball. If you're going to play this sort of system that Marty Cifuentes is going to play.
He's good at corners, though, mate. He's good at corners.
Oh, it's a one-off. It can happen. I bet it happens a lot in training. I'm sorry. One fluky corner is not going to convince me to keep this guy. No, 33 years old. Let him run down his contract. You're not going to get any profit off him. No one's going to come in to buy him. So just let him run down his contract. If he is only on 30 grand a week, just let it run it down. Help us get promoted. Ta-ta. Sail off into the sunset. Goodbye. End of story.
Clibbo?
Well, when we bought him, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe the amount of money we paid for him. I just thought it was absolutely outrageous. That's just my opinion, of course. I thought everything that Reece has just said epitomises him. He's a hold-up player. You can't put him on the wings.
No.
I agree with what Reece is saying. Marty's not going to play him in that system the way he plays. He might come on and disrupt play in a tough match. He'll be very valuable for that. But that's all he's going to be good for. And there is an argument to say that you've got to have a player like that in your squad. I thought at the weekend he offered valuable experience on the pitch. He held the ball up nicely. And to be fair, he did put a couple of good corners in, not just that one, into nice areas.
I have it not often that we see a corner going past the first defender, is it?
This is true. We've been shocking for a good couple of years. So I can understand,
like American football, where we can just bring him on to take corners and then take him back off again.
Yeah, I could see that happening in the future with the way the rules keep changing. But in terms of new contract, not a chance. Not a chance. No way. Go. If you can get $1 million for him, go.
Yeah.
I didn't realise Leicester paid an initial $5 million plus $3 million in add-ons. Now, what those add-ons were, I don't know. Let's hope one of them was staying up, so we've saved a bit on that. Yeah. Jordan Ayew is the son. Here we go. Jordan Ayew is the son of Abdel Pele, who apparently is the president of Narnia FC. Fucking hell, I wonder if he's playing for Narnia. No bloody wonder. He's been in the cupboard all season, hasn't he? I might have the wrong choice of phrase, but you get what I'm saying. To me, I'm going to have to agree with you, Reece, is the fact that, look, we're only going to get $2 million for him. So in the big scheme of things, what's $2 million? It's nothing really, is it, these days? Is anybody going to come in and pay a 33-year-old 30 grand? I don't think so. So I'm with you. I think he'll get game time next season. I agree, probably not as a starter, but for someone to come up and, come on, and like you said, Clibbo, disrupt the game, hold it. I mean, the first thing he did after we signed him, the first game when he came on, his first touch, he went over, got us a free kick, which is basically what the Palace fan told us he would be like. So, yeah, I could see him coming on late in games. But I'm for you.
I don't think he'd be very happy about it because he's come out publicly and said that he feels that I think it was Leicestershire Live at the end of the season said next season he wants to play every game. There's no way he's going to want to sit on the bench. He's 33. You've got to play. You have to play.
Yes, you do.
Your career's over.
Yes, you do. I mean, you're quite right. Ayew suggested his future was open-ended as things stand. He could leave, he says, but he is happy at the King Power Stadium and just wants a club where he can play regularly. Nobody's going to come in, I would say, at a bigger club in the Championship, or certainly not in the Premier League, that's going to take him on and play him regularly. So is he going to be prepared to drop down, I think, to League One or League Two to get regular game, which I think is the only place, or maybe go to Scotland or somewhere like that to get regular game time? That is the interesting thing for me. So again, totally Reece with you. Run it down, get a season out of him, maybe, and if he's not happy, then let him go. Let's wait and see who comes in for him. I don't think there will be many, but as that impact sub maybe coming on to hold the game up and what have you, if we're winning and we're holding on, I think he will be all right. But like you say, he's only got a year left. Run him down.
I do think this is one that we can afford to let run down, because if you look at his wages, it's 30 grand a week. It's one of them where we don't really have to sell him, because I can see the uses of him next season. Because I do think Marty will look at him and go, right, I'm not going to start him because he can't play. He can't press from the front. He's not fit enough, and he's not got the legs to do that. But coming off the bench, whether we're losing, he can nick a goal. We have noticed he can nick a goal, like we did at Southampton away last season, Ipswich away. He comes up with crucial goals. But even if we're winning, we can bring this guy. Right, we're winning 1-0. Let's bring this guy on and shore the game up. Let's win some free kicks. Let's win some corners. So this guy will have his uses next season, but as soon as that's done and his contract's then just let him go. I think that's one we can afford to keep, but not afford to not get rid of, basically.
Yeah. Blue Fox says here, I let his contract run down. Think he could be a useful squad player. Agree. Yes. Armchair says send him to Wrexham. They're buying old boys. Ayew says Scott needs to play for Ofcom. Needs to play for AFCON opportunities. We got robbed, says Watches. Not a Cifuentes player, says Armchair. But I mean, at 2-1, you and me, Reece, we went for a rundown. But I can see what you're saying. If there's an offer comes in for him, yes, I'd bite your hand off and take it. Right, you ready for the last one?
Yes.
I think you know who might be coming up. Daka. Right, he is 33.
No, that's wrong.
That's wrong. I've copied and pasted that wrong. 23.
He's about 28. He's about 28.
He's 26.
Yeah, there you go.
He's 26. 33.
Hey, I was doing this quite late at night. All right, it had been a long weekend after that fucking friendly that I was doing for about 6 hours on Saturday. You're even lucky you got these up. Yes, he's 26, but he plays like he's 33. Let's be honest with you, but he is actually 26. Centre forward. That's all he does. He played 721 minutes last season. His weekly wage is 75k, which is 3.9 million a year. His current market value is 7.5 million. I'm just going to go straight in with this one and say whatever we can get for him at 75k, take him off the books and sell him. Reece?
Yeah, I totally agree, mate. I don't think Marty's going to touch this guy with a barge pole. But the problem is any other club going to come touch him with a barge pole with those sort of wages? 75k a week for this pile of shit. I mean, Jesus Christ. But again, I have to agree with Uncle Clibbo. The club have ruined him. We haven't utilised him very well at all. But at the end of the day, if you spooning the ball into Rosehead from 5 yards out against Plymouth Argyle, then I'm sorry, you're not going to make it at the Premier League or any of that at that sort of level. We just need to get wherever we can for him. But the problem is, I mean, can we afford to get rid of him? That's the issue. But obviously, if we could afford to get rid of him, then yes, I would sell him. Like I'd get a bleeding taxi. I'd drive him in my car myself and drive him to wherever. Get rid. Useless.
That's a sell then, is it? I think we can agree that's the sell. £5,409 a minute here last season, Clibbo. Value for money?
No, it's not. So I'm not torn on this. I'm very much in the sell camp, but him, Suter, and Birch, we arranged to come and meet some of the. As you know, I work at the Bradgate unit, and arranged to come and meet some of the patients. And I have to say, he is a very, very gentle, nice human being, and had time for everyone. Stood and chatted, and Suter, and obviously Birch. But so I've got a bit of a soft spot for the guy. There are, I think, and there have been glimpses where he's done things, and you've gone, you have to be a good player to be able to do that. So somewhere in there was, I think, a good player. I think we've kicked it out of him. I don't like hating on him. I have been extremely pissed off with him, particularly against Leeds. I was with a Leeds fan that night when that happened. Just drove me mad. But I don't want to hate on him as a person. He's a lovely person. But we cannot go into this season with him as our number one striker, because the guy's confidence is through the floor, isn't it? And it's unlikely that we're ever going to get it back at this club. So I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him go with the best wishes. I hope he finds a club that can, rekindle whatever skill set he's got, and hope he has a nice twilight career. But he has to go for me. We have to make it priority that we sell him so that we can get some half decent money for him.
I agree. And look, let's just say with any of these things that we've said, we are not saying about the people themselves. We are talking about.
It does get personal sometimes, doesn't it? With
two of the nicest managers I ever met, Leicester City managers, who were the managers when my two kids were ball boys for Leicester back in the day. So two nicest managers were Ian Holloway and Craig Levein. Now, exactly. As managers, you'd say bloody useless, the pair of them. But as human beings, and the way they were with my children, I could not fault them. They were absolutely lovely. And Craig Levein probably actually more than Ian Holloway, and Ian Holloway was lovely. So we're not saying about these people, these things as the person, it's the footballer. And yes, no, we don't sign anybody, whoever it is, whether it's Daka, whether it's Soumare, thinking they're going to be shit. We're playing them because we've heard they're good, or we've scouted them. And, look, he came in and he got 4 goals against, Moscow. So we know there's a pretty decent player in there. But Premier League, Championship, it's a different level. And like you said, Clibbo, we probably have played the good player out of him. And the only doubt I would have in my mind, and I tend to sort of talk myself out of it straight away, because I remember what he was like you said, Reece, that away game at Plymouth. Oh my God, the guy walked off there, and I think he could have just, waited for the ground to open up and swallow him. Do you think that now that Vardy's gone and that pressure is off him, and that's what pissed me off in the Championship season. And when I defended him week in, week out, and I didn't defend him as a player, I just don't think he deserved the stick that he got. Because we know that game against Bristol City, and I think Vardy missed 3 opportunities. Nobody came out and said, fucking hell, Vardy was shit today. What an awful game. Oh, it's Jamie Vardy. Can't criticise Jamie Vardy, But it was awful, that game. But, if you're going to criticise one player, you've got to criticise the other one in equal measures for the same thing.
I think the difference is we knew Vardy would come good again. We don't with Daka.
Do you think, though, if he is our number 1 striker, and I'm not saying I've got him down to sell as well, so I'm not, saying, but if he is our number 1 striker, Reece, with no Vardy there, does that give him the freedom to say, phew, okay, this is me now?
Potentially, yeah, I can see that argument. I'm not against it at all, and I do think and I keep going back to Marty's system. I do think he is a very pressing striker. He will press the back 4. He will do the credentials very well. It's just that finishing. It just comes to that final third, and I don't know. I mean, it could come to a point where we just can't sell any of these players because it's come out that we have to sell before we have to buy. From Alex Crook on TalkSport, we have to sell before we can buy. So it's a catch-22 for me because Marty could come in and go, yeah, I like the look of it. It all depends what the manager thinks. We can have our opinions as fans, but again, we could, the manager could see something totally different. So I can see that argument. But
I couldn't get Marty on the show tonight, so it is down to us, I'm afraid. But,
yeah. You can see where I'm coming from, though, in terms of.
I do get what you're saying. But, I think the thing is, if he had another year left on his contract, I might say keep him for this next season in the Championship, get another striker in, but let's see, that's his last chance to prove himself. But he hasn't. He's got that 1 year. I mean, you talk about us ruining players. I can't remember what we paid for him when we bought him. Oh, I can tell you that, actually. We paid...
something?
Sorry? 22 million euros. Yeah.
23
20 million quid. So we've taken a 20 million quid player and reduced his value to 7.5 million. That's what
you wouldn't get that. You wouldn't get that for him either. So you'd have to say less than.
Yeah, and you've got to say again, he's one of those where you say, "We'll take an offer," and then you can make that up on his wages if you want.
Here's where I think he would benefit this season. Marty comes in, sees the attributes that he does have, and says, "Right. Whatever your attributes are, that's what I want you to do on the pitch. You're going to be the number 1 striker. But take the pressure off the goal scoring." And I know that sounds a little bit arse about face, but if we distribute the goals better in the team, play a team that, the midfield scores a few, the defenders score a few, and you say the front 3, I want you to score X amount of goals between you. Instead of saying to the striker, I want you to score 20 goals. I think there's potential for him to thrive in that system where the pressure's off him to be the main 20-goal striker, potentially. So I think that might be able to work.
Yeah. And all I'll say is Yannick Vestergaard. 3 seasons ago we wanted him out of the club as far as we could, throw him. A new manager comes in and he becomes our, one of our best players in the Championship. So, we don't know. Talking of Yannick Vestergaard, these are the guys whose contracts are up next year. So in 2020, or not next year, the year after next. So they've got 24 months left on the contract. Yannick Vestergaard, unfortunately, Bobby Dakova-Reid, Wilfred Ndidi, Wout Faes, Ben Nelson, and Hamza Chowdhury. For me, there's only one that I would keep and offer an extension to, and that's Ben Nelson.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think any of the others. I mean, I can't believe we've got another 2 seasons with Bobby Dakova Reed. I really, really don't. Yeah, would you save more than one Reece there, or extend more than one? If you dare say about phase, I'm never having you back on this channel again.
No, don't worry. I'm not going to say Sideshow Bob. Don't worry. No, Yannick, too much money. Again, we have to look at the fact that, all right, we're in the Championship, but are they good enough for the Premier League? We need to think about both divisions. And out of those 6 players, only Ben Nilsson screams to me he's good enough for the Championship, and he will be good enough for the Premier League. Hamza, brilliant for the Championship, not a problem, but he's not Premier League quality. Wout Fass, I'm not even going to talk about him. And Didi, get him out as ASAP because, his wages are going to kill the club. Bobby Reed, I mean, need I say more? And Yannick, go and walk your dog somewhere else, mate. Simple.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, no, I think we've bloody agreed so much today. We have to come up with a topic that argue on. But guys, thank you very, very much indeed. Our regular Monday night down the clock show, for Fox's sake, might change it to Family Feud. Who knows? We'll see how we get on. Guys,
Yeah, it will be.
I'm just waiting for that spark where we have a family falling out. But guys, thank you both very, very much. I have a feeling we might be seeing you sometime during the week once the big announcement comes along. We live in hope, eh? We live in hope.
Yes.
We will.
Right. Take care, boys.
Thanks so much. All the best, guys. Thank you. Good night now. Good night. Thank you very much to Clibbo, and thank you very much to Reece. Yeah, we agreed on so much there, didn't we? I mean, that wasn't the plan. That wasn't the plan. Before you go, if you've been watching, thank you very much indeed. Please smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, click on that notification bell, and of course, with all the shows being arse around tit during the summer, because there's no sort of regular thought through them, because obviously matches all over the place, etc. Click that notification bell and you'll never ever miss a show. 9 o'clock, they will have one back on with us next week. Oh, and if you've been listening via your favourite podcast platform, thank you for lending me your ears. I'm going to say good night now. I will see you tomorrow at 7 with Fox's Forum. Take care, guys. I will see you then, and thank you very much for that, Blue, and Scott as well. Thank you very much indeed, and I will see you all, hopefully, tomorrow at 7. Good night.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.